big trade in the NBA in the last 24 hours. Maybe just explain what's going on in the NBA for us at the moment, and particularly around this trade.
So James Harden wanted to leave the Houston Rockets. James Harden, one of the best players in the NBA, not a happy man, feels like he won't win a championship ring in Houston. He's probably right. He's let himself go, though. He's basically tried to get himself traded. He's deliberately broken lockdown rules to try and get fines. He's put on a lot of weight. He doesn't look in good shape whatsoever. And it was only a matter of time before he ended up getting traded. The trade season in the NBA is obviously, because of the pandemic, it overlaps even more widely than it usually does with the season this year. There are another 2 months of this, and this, I would be surprised if it gets surpassed, but there's still probably more madness to come. It's actually better than the regular season of the sport itself, when it comes to trades, and last night proved that. It was absolutely extraordinary. And there are 4 different parts to this. This is going to be like Kevin Kilbane trying to explain the Nations League, trying to explain this James Harden trade. But I've broken it down into the 4 teams involved. If you're just waking up this morning, here's what's after happening. The Brooklyn Nets is where James Harden has gone. So the Brooklyn Nets are absolutely unbelievable right now. They've moved into second favourites to win the NBA championship. I would make them favourites, assuming everybody stays healthy and everybody gets on. Now, that's a big if. They might not all get on. They've got Kyrie Irving, they've got James Harden, they've got Kevin Durant. It is the best big 3 in basketball, and it has the potential to be the best big 3 ever in basketball if they all get on. Now, the Houston Rockets, in return, have got Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodions Kurucs, 4 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps. No, I'm not going to tell you what year those picks are going for, because otherwise we're going to be here until 8:40. The Cleveland Cavaliers are also involved in this. They've got Jared Allen, a decent young player, a centre, and Taurean Prince. They don't have a point guard really who's ready to rock for the Cavaliers just yet, but Jared Allen is good. He's one for the future, and the Cavs have done okay out of this.
Well,
finally,
who did they trade with?
So to finish this off, then the Pacers have got Chris LeVert, who's and a second-round pick. So Chris LeVert has gone from Brooklyn to Pacers, and then the Pacers have subsequently traded Victor Oladipo to the Houston Rockets, and then involved in this is Jared Allen and Taurean Prince to the Cavaliers. And this is like the fourth element of all of this, to try and make up the different elements of trade picks that were required to ensure that Harden got to the Nets. That's the end point here. There was an external company, Wasserman, actually brought in by James Harden to ensure that this got over the line. And they're picking up the phone to 4 different GMs trying to make this thing happen. And everybody, bar the Rockets, I think, they probably come out the worst out of this. Everybody, bar the Rockets, probably gets what they want. But unfortunately, when your superstar player is wanting to leave and is deliberately wanting to leave, then, you know, that's exactly how this thing turns out.
What did the Rockets get?
So the Rockets, they've got Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodions Kurucs, and basically 8 picks in general. So they got 4 first-round picks and then 4 pick swaps.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's too much, sort of thing, if that makes any sense.
They like gave up Harden, and all they gave up was Harden.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And did they give up a pick as well? I don't even know at this point, to be honest, where that pick that the Nets got, where that came from. I think that second-round pick might have come from Houston, but Houston and Oladipo get a really good player who has proven himself time and time again, but is also coming back from injury. There was some concern that Indiana wouldn't get the best out of him for the remainder, and he's going to be tied up in a lot of money. That's the issue here with these players. There's extra tax being placed on contracts, and you need to be 100% sure to hand out a $100 million contract, basically. And I'm not sure Victor Oladipo is certainly worth that. So the Pacers were willing to get rid of him, get Caris LeVert from the Brooklyn Nets, and send Victor Oladipo off to the Rockets as part of this deal.
So
and then
a 4-team trade has resulted in one of the greatest basketball teams of all time on paper being assembled in Brooklyn.
Yeah, like the potential to do this. I would have concerns about James Harden and Kyrie Irving both sharing ball-carrying duties. All 3 of them, to a certain extent, sharing shooting duties. Maybe Durant won't shoot the ball as much because the 2 guys are pretty good, and Harden's obviously absolutely unbelievable. Like, to put this into context, Harden and Durant have won 7 of the last 11 NBA scoring titles combined. So they've got the 2 greatest scorers currently in the NBA going rejoining forces, because let's not forget Harden and Durant played together before with Oklahoma City Thunder, and Russell Westbrook was their third part. And sometimes a picture of the 3 of them goes viral. And it's like, imagine if they knew how good these guys would be, you could rejoin forces and make a team that could never be beaten in basketball. They kind of have, but instead of Russell Westbrook, you've now got Kyrie Irving and three guys who are potentially at their peak. Like, there's a case to be made that Durant is the best player in basketball right now, and he's got arguably two other top 5 players with him. The issue with that, of course, is that who are the other pieces going to be? You are going to see probably 3 more signings being made by Brooklyn over the next couple of months. As I said, there's another 2 months of this. They got to get them on the cheap because they've spent a lot of money on their big 3. And if one of them gets injured, well, then they screwed this whole thing up. But that's the risk you have to take. If you want to take down the Lakers, going for a big 3 is probably the way to go, because realistically they only have a big 2.
All right, that is the big breaking story from basketball overnight, and I think we've done as good a job as Kev did about the Nations Cup and explaining exactly what happened. But fair play to you, Owen, it's very early in the morning. 7:44 exactly. Phil Egan, good morning to you. How are you?